A few months ago, I started exploring different materials, how to upcycle more, just to be more budget friendly and make use of what I already had. And in the process, I discovered some people that would do some really cool stuff with the avocado seed. So I decided to give it an attempt, and I started off by getting rid of the outside, all the crustiness. Now for my pit, I did take a while longer than I wanted to get started, so it was a little bit more sticky on the outside, but either way I was able to get rid of it just using a regular knife that I got from a thrift shop. Now when it comes to these pits, they actually start naturally breaking apart down the middle, so that's why I went ahead and just split it off myself so that I didn't design something and then it would break. This specific idea was to make an ornamental paw print for someone that has been extremely supportive of my shop and all of my endeavors, and recently lost her baby. And when she told me, it was a bit of a shocker. It's just, pet loss is just something that never really fully gets easy, but I wanted to make her something special, something outside of all the collars or accessories that I've made over the years. I got a knife that wasn't too sharp, but also not just like a butter knife where it wouldn't cut anything. But having this knife that had a little bit of an edge allowed me to slowly peel away at the seed. If I had something that was harsher, I would then run the risk of the entire piece just flying off or breaking off even further. I have found through different types of trials and errors, when it comes to the seeds and working them, the longer you wait to use it or to try to create something out of it, the harder it gets. And as it gets harder, the steak knife of course won't be enough. And even if you do have wood carving tools like I do, I still feel iffy about using them on the avocado, because when I used it on the avocado seed, the material from the wood carving tools and the material from the seed itself, they clash. It makes the wood carving tool sweat. Not to mention that depending on how long that pit has been sitting there drying out, it becomes extremely hard to the point where you would need power tools to be able to make any type of design with it. Now, to make the actual design on the pit, I start off by drawing it and then just carefully taking away pieces, with the hardest part being trying to get some depth without messing up the rest of the shape. I want it to be a paw print inside of a heart shape. So I just had to slowly peel from the inside, making a little hole, and then dig out each of those thumbs one by one in a way that it didn't lift up the other sides. So you see me doing some cuts that are just straight down sometimes, and that's because I'm essentially marking my spot. And this is probably the trickiest part to get a handle off, especially if you want something that's like super smooth. But it really makes all the difference to cut down with the tip of the blade to create the shape that you want. When it came down to the beans, what I ended up doing was grabbing it from one side with the point and then grabbing it from the other side with the point and then going back in and out to cut out the small piece. Of course, this being very small detailed work, because if I'd messed this up then it would have all kind of gone to waste and I'd have to wait to buy another avocado to be able to do this. Now, since I knew I wanted this to be an ornament, while the seed was still manageable, I poked the top of it with a pin so that as the seed dried out, I could have this hole to be able to pass a ribbon through. And I did end up using multiple pins, and that was kind of like a gamble and trying to figure out like how do I make them all come out of the same end. But by doing this, then it made it big enough so that I did have that space. And the seed itself took probably about a month and a half to fully dry out, and at that point then I could sand it like I would any other wood project to smooth out the edges, as well as pass the ribbon through the middle. And I have another video on how I pass the ribbon through. But once that was done, then I also added a little bit of oil on the outside to give it some shine and bring it back to life. And in the end, it does look like a piece of wood, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. It has this sort of primitive rustic feel to it, and hopefully the special person that I'm making it for will like it, and it'll be a good reminder of their puppy's love for them.